YouTube, what up? Welcome back to a new video. If this is your first time here on the channel, thanks so much for stopping by. Definitely check out some of my other videos, and if you like what you see, go ahead and like, comment, and subscribe. I greatly appreciate it. The Nintendo DS just recently celebrated its 20-year anniversary. 20 years, y'all. That's crazy. It was released here in North America, November 21st, 2004. And I don't know about y'all, but that's making me feel kind of old. I knew that I wanted to celebrate the Nintendo DS somehow. I was initially going to do a top 10 Nintendo DS games video, but I did that 5 years ago for the 15th anniversary, right? And to be quite honest with you, that list still holds up. So if you haven't seen my top 10 Nintendo DS games, definitely check that video out. Today I wanted to chit chat about something a little different regarding the Nintendo DS, and that's what made the Nintendo DS special. I personally have 3 reasons as to why the Nintendo DS was special, and still is if you ask me. But before I get into those reasons, guys, let me know what you personally think made the Nintendo DS so special, and what are some of your favorite Nintendo DS games? The Nintendo DS is my favorite handheld of all time. I love the Game Boy. I love the Game Boy Advance SP. They're all great. But the DS is just something special. Before I get into the reasons as to what made the Nintendo DS special, I do want to share with you my DSs, right? I do have 3 of them. I don't have this many iterations of any other handheld, which is crazy. So I guess you can tell by that. I love the Nintendo DS. This wasn't my original DS that I got. I got the original gray one. My cousin gave this to me when she was moving out of her mom's house. This was hers as a kid. So yeah, I have the red original DS. I also have a red Nintendo DS Lite. I love the form factor of the Lite. I think it's the best iteration of the DS. I love this thing. It's so comfortable. I don't know what color this is. It looks a little burgundy-ish to me, but this is the Nintendo DS-i XL. All right, let's get into these reasons as to what made the Nintendo DS so special. And the first reason by far is definitely the dual screens. Now, when the Nintendo DS was first announced, we saw that it had 2 screens, and I wasn't quite sure as to why a handheld would need 2 screens. I was a little skeptical of it. I honestly thought it was more or less of a gimmick. But it turns out that having 2 screens, okay, on a handheld at the time, and let alone not only having 2 screens, but let alone one of those screens being a touch screen, it was totally revolutionary. I thought the top screen on the Nintendo DS, the LCD screen, looked great. It made games look great, nice and bright and vibrant. And even if it was a game that had like darker tones, color tones, I still feel like they looked great as well. The touchscreen was awesome. I loved just being able, like some games kind of took advantage of the touchscreen, right? There were some games that it was touchscreen only, and I thought that was different and unique. But it was little subtle things that I enjoyed with the touchscreen, right? Like in Castlevania games, you could totally, like when you start a new game and you have to write the name of the character or write the name for your profile, you could just write your name there. That was cool. Now, as much as I love the touchscreen, the one thing that I did not like were these little styluses, right? The stylus used to get on my nerves, and not because I didn't feel like it was useful. It's super useful, right? I can't imagine. Well, I have used my finger on the Nintendo DS bottom screen before. I know that's crazy, but I have. But I used to lose these things all of the time and then miraculously find them down the line. But I did used to lose my stylus. I'm sure that happened to many of you out there too. But I just can't stress enough how different 2 screens felt. Like being able to play a Metroidvania and seeing the map on the bottom screen. So useful. I didn't have to press a button in order to pull the map up. It was there on the bottom, and I love that. And I already mentioned games that just took advantage of touchscreen only, right? You had different games like Kirby's Canvas Curse, I believe it was. That was cool. A different take on Kirby. I loved it. All you did was use your stylus and draw lines across the screen. It was so different and unique. To be honest, guys, coming from someone that enjoys handhelds so much, I low-key kind of miss the dual screens now. Reason number two as to what made the Nintendo DS so special, I definitely have to shout out the Wi-Fi connectivity. I did a video a couple of weeks ago talking about how much fun I've been having with the multiplayer in Call of Duty Black Ops 6, right? And again, that's coming from someone that doesn't typically play shooters online. I don't really get down like that, but for some reason, the game is hooking me. The Nintendo DS, it was special, all right, as far as the Wi-Fi connectivity goes. First of all, I don't know if there was another handheld, if there had been another handheld prior to the release of the Nintendo DS that allowed you to play games online competitively. And when I say competitively, I'm saying competitively. I spent a ton of time playing online in Mario Kart DS. Oh my gosh, I spent so much time playing that game online. I also spent a bunch of time playing Clubhouse games, right? I played that online as well, played spades online, checkers online. Like, I was doing my thing. I was having so much fun playing these like chill games that I typically enjoy. You know, they weren't shooters, they were just chill. And I was having so much fun with them. Now, what I really enjoyed about the Wi-Fi connectivity on the Nintendo DS was that it wasn't just about competitive play, right? It wasn't just about that. It wasn't traditional like Wi-Fi connectivity. You had games like Dragon Quest IX, Sentinels of the Starry Skies, right? Where you could connect online and meet up at certain spots. Like, I know I went to a Best Buy event specifically for Dragon Quest IX. And I was able to like download a dungeon. There was the representative that was there. I was able to bring him into my game. It was just cool. You know, you could do co-op play in other games as well. And I love that. It was something different. You know, it wasn't just about competing. I definitely have to mention, when it comes to Wi-Fi connectivity, Animal Crossing Wild World. You guys remember that game, right? That was my first experience with an Animal Crossing game. And I spent a lot of time like opening up my gates and meeting up with different people, because at the time I was posting on GameSpot forums. And there was a whole community over there where people were playing Animal Crossing Wild World. So, you know, we would, you know, contact each other and tell each other, you know, when we were going to open gates and stuff, or, you know, when we were allowed to come to their island. And I would trade fruits with people. I had all the fruits. My village was on point. It was on point. So I spent a lot of time playing with other people in Animal Crossing Wild World. I do remember it was around 2005 or 2006 where Nintendo partnered with McDonald's. So you were able to take your DS to a McDonald's, as long as they participated in this program, and you could play online while you were at McDonald's. Now, I never did it, but I always thought it was cool. Last reason, guys, reason number three as to what made the Nintendo DS so special definitely has to be the diverse library of games. The Nintendo DS library is bananas, guys. It's bananas. There are so many different types of games that you can play on this one little handheld. So many different genres, so many different experiences, and unique experiences at that. You gotta appreciate that library. So many different types of genres on that little handheld. It's crazy. I mentioned Animal Crossing Wild Worlds. I mentioned Mario Kart DS. You have some fantastic RPGs on the DS, right? You got the Dragon Quest games alone. Dragon Quest 4, Dragon Quest 5, Dragon Quest 6. Dragon Quest IX, which is a totally new experience and fantastic at that. Chrono Trigger, right? Had some games, they were remaking games, right? So Chrono Trigger, fantastic. That was the first time I played that game, and loved it to pieces. The World Ends With You. I mean, there's just so many different experiences, you know, on the Nintendo DS. And The World Ends With You is definitely a unique RPG. It felt so different at the time. Playing that game was just, it was awesome. If you want to play platformers, they're there for you too on the Nintendo DS. If you want different types of games, like, I don't know, Elite Beat Agents, that's a good time. You want a rhythm game? You're going to have you a rhythm game on the Nintendo DS. There was just so many different types of genres, okay, that you could play on the DS. It was like a handheld that everyone would love. If you're into puzzle games, there's some great puzzle games out there. If you love adventure games, and a different take on adventure games, right? You have your Phoenix Wright games, you have your Professor Layton's, you have games like Trace Memory, Hotel Dusk. Oh my gosh, so many good stuff, so much good stuff, right? Trauma Center. Do you guys remember the Trauma Center games? Absolutely love those. There just seemed to be a spark revolving around all of the Nintendo DS games, right? There were so many great games on that handheld and so many different types of games that you could experience. When it comes to the Nintendo DS, I have some good memories, some good and bad memories. That handheld got me through some tough times in life. When life was lifing, my Nintendo DS was there, experienced death and all types of things. And the Nintendo DS, I specifically remember moments where I was feeling overwhelmed or sad and upset, and I would kind of just plug my headphones in and play my Nintendo DS to kind of just like balance myself out. Definitely also remember, because the Nintendo DS came out when my son was 4 years old. So he was a little kid. And I think about Toys R Us. I think about Toys R Us when I think about the Nintendo DS, because that's where I would take my son every other week. When I got paid, I would take him to Toys R Us and let him pick out a toy. And at the time, he was big into like Power Rangers and wrestlers and cars and stuff like that. So he would pick out a toy, and then we would just mosey on into the game section, and I would get a Nintendo DS game. Not every time, but I would get myself a Nintendo DS game. Happy 20-year anniversary to the Nintendo DS. Guys, as I mentioned before, let me know what you think made the Nintendo DS so special, and let me know some of your favorite DS games. I want to thank all of you for watching this video. Happy Thanksgiving, and I'll check you next time. Peace.